What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we've received Bungie's massive series of updates, frankly, regarding the future of Destiny 2. We've actually got a bit more detail than I was anticipating. Safe to say I was tempering expectations, but Bungie have gone into quite a bit more depth about how they're going to look at the future of Destiny. They do actually give us a sort of roadmap for 2025 in particular, which will consist of 2 expansions, as well as a few seasons and free content updates. It's quite a big switch up on what we've seen previously, so we'll break down what Bungie is saying, and of course we'll see how it pans out in the long term. Bungie have also spoken about the 10th anniversary event today, and it more or less is what we expected it to be. So we're getting the new armor, the new legend title, some Bungie store items like a limited edition Nerf Ace of Spades blaster replica, and so I thought it was worth a quick mention of that initially. The only component that was a bit of a surprise via the 10th anniversary reveal is that we actually see the Titan holding an Icebreaker in the artwork right there, and Bungie confirm in the blog that Icebreaker will be returning as part of the next dungeon for Destiny 2. So as far as we know, that dungeon will be dropping in episode 3. Pretty exciting stuff, cool that it's coming back. Interesting that they're adding it to a dungeon. They say they'll share more at a later date, but a juicy addition, I suppose, nonetheless. But let's get into the codename Frontiers breakdown from Bungie today. So they say this marks the 10-year anniversary of Destiny. Happy anniversary, everyone. We should mention that as well. And they say we're plotting our course to the stars through codename Frontiers. We closed the door with the final shape, but we're opening a new one, a weird one, and an exciting one that takes Destiny to places it's never been before. And we're building this future now and are excited to share with you a first glimpse of it today. And immediately there is a roadmap image that we can see right here. So firstly, we can see summer 2025, there'll be an expansion, and the codename for that is Apollo. In winter 2025, there'll be another expansion with the codename Behemoth. And so these are the 2 larger sort of content drops that were actually leaked and discussed recently. And apparently expansions will consist of new stories, locations, missions, weapons, gear, as well as raids and dungeons. Additionally, in this roadmap though, we can see seasonal updates. So in summer 2025, there'll be a major update codenamed Arsenal. That will come with a reward pass. There'll be another one in fall of 2025 and in winter of 2025, as well as spring of 2026. And they say seasonal updates will consist of new and reprised activities, gear and artifact mods, modifiers and challenges, a new sandbox meta, as well as new events. And the rewards pass more or less consisting of what it does now: exotic weapon ornaments, legendary weapon and armor ornaments, gear upgrade resources, cosmetics, and more. So good to have a roadmap right there, and they go on to talk about it. The roadmap lays out the plan for year 11 and beyond, with some exciting changes to the annual model, 2 expansions per year, and 4 major updates of free content every year. And they highlight that those updates will be free. And they say over the next few months they'll continue to share information about each of these releases, with the ultimate goal to be more transparent in communications with players. And then they provide some concept art here, which looks pretty cool, and Tyson Green jumps in, the new game director for Destiny 2. This is one of the first sort of in-depth bits of information we've had from Tyson Green. He points out he's been working on Destiny for 15 years and says, at the same time, we recognize that the way that Destiny has been produced is too rigid. Expansions have started to feel too formulaic and are over too quickly with little replay value. And while seasons and episodes keep getting bigger, they still feel like you're just going through the motions to a degree. So they believe it's time for Destiny to change and evolve. And in a sense, it's positive that that's been recognized in such basic terms, really. And so they go on to talk about annual expansions. And they say we've loved creating annual expansions and are especially proud of the final shape. But starting next year, instead of 1 big expansion, we're going to deliver 2 medium-sized expansions, 1 every 6 months. And each of these will depart from the one-shot campaign structure we've been using essentially since Shadowkeep, and each will be an opportunity to explore exciting new formats instead. So they're actively prototyping non-linear campaigns, exploration experiences similar to the Dreaming City, and even more unusual formats like roguelikes or survival shooters, and each expansion will present a new opportunity to try something different. But they point out they don't want to move away from great storytelling. Instead, going forward, we want to return to the mystery and wonder that was woven into the fabric of early Destiny, where the story felt ripe with possibilities and an epic sense of exploration and discovery. So that's the general idea behind the expansions. But then for seasons, they say this model will be changing significantly. Instead of 3 episodes, we'll be building 4 major updates per year, one of them every 3 months. And each expansion will launch alongside a major update at the start of the season, and then a second major update will follow 3 months later to refresh the core game. And that will consist of contents like strikes, exotic missions, entirely new modes like Onslaught, with with weapons, armor, artifact mods, exotics, and more, plus weekly events, new features, and combat meta and balance updates. And they say the big seasonal resets will still happen, but instead will be twice a year alongside the expansions, and each update will be a substantial refresh to the core game. And we're excited to announce that, like Destiny 2 Into the Light, these updates and their content will be free to all players. So again, this is very much along the lines of what was leaked previously a few weeks back, and how this will feel in terms of quantity of content, we'll just have to wait and see. But as Bungie have identified themselves, that sort of formulaic nature of Destiny's content in the past few years is a big part of the problem, and the quality bar is just as important, if not more important, than the quantity of content updates, right? So we won't know how this will play out until we actually get into the game, into this new version of Destiny 2 that Bungie are talking about, and they go into more detail about that. So for the core game, they do say Destiny is too complex with literally hundreds of activities, and you practically need a PhD to decide what to play. The plan is to fix this by modernizing activity UI, the director, and we're reworking our reward model to make sure all of those activities offer meaningful rewards. But also they say gear and challenge should matter, and they're investing in a greatly improved challenge customization system to let players of any skill range find the right challenge level for them, with rewards that improve based on the challenge. So these won't just be simple incoming damage increases. The team is cooking up some great gameplay modifiers that give enemies some exciting tools to mix things up. And as for the rewards, there will be higher tiers of legendary gear, think adept weapons and artifice armor, and those will be available from these higher challenge ranges. But these two changes will help the core game experience be easier to drop into, and be much deeper in terms of variety and pursuit of personal mastery, and they are a starting point for ongoing changes aimed to continue and improve Destiny in these regards. So those sound good on paper, as we've said, but the next multi-year saga will start with codename Apollo. And they say that the current episodes we're experiencing right now close doors, but also open new ones, purposeful ones, and storylines that are set in place to prepare us for what comes next. And that indeed will be the new saga. They say we'll see teasers of it in the later 2 episodes, and then it'll fully kick off with codename Apollo. This next saga is also based around a core theme, much like the Light and Darkness did. It will introduce plenty of characters, factions, twists, and more. There'll be a lot more that we can say on this eventually, but we can't spoil the journey for now. However, they reiterate that this will be a multi-year journey, and one that they can't wait to take us on. And they say codename Apollo is a non-linear character-driven adventure. And so previously in stories like Final Shape, you experienced the story as A to B to C to D in a nice straight line. But in Apollo, the story will take place over dozens of threads that we'll explore and discover. So when you land on a brand new location, the story starts at A, and then you can choose if you want to explore C first, or try and get into B, or maybe investigate D, which is sort of a hypothetical way of explaining it in a text form, which is understandable. But they say for any of these options that we don't explore, they'll remain open for us to go back and play through. They also say there will be no time gating, no waiting for the next drop, and Apollo's story will unfold based on player progression. So that certainly sounds interesting right there. Again, there's more concept art that they've shared here. And they finish in this part of the article by saying, this is a big change, because when the rhythm of our story becomes predictable, or when characters in our world fail to change, that's how we create a situation, not a story. So Bungie are looking to innovate on the way that they actually develop Destiny 2, which means an evolving world, giving space for new characters, growing and evolving factions, with each release that they've outlined today fitting into a larger saga. They say they don't want to spoil too much, but they'll give us something to look forward to, and Apollo will end with the narrative gasoline that will propel us into the next few years with a clear theme, goal, and a destination that won't come at you as a straight line, but will be well worth the trip. It'll reward you, surprise you, and take us to places that Destiny has never seen before. And in further detail about particular components of these updates, they say, the deep dive section of the blog article will continue to grow as they add new further topics. And they finish by saying it's time to look again to the stars, it's time to imagine, dream big, and explore what our futures can be within this universe. And in some other previews, they also indicate that gear will in future have tiers, so legendary weapons and armor will be available in a deeper range of quality tiers that layer on properties like stat bonuses, enhanced perks, and other benefits. And this will be similar to how adept weapons upgrade. And the baseline tier of legendary weapons and armor will be equivalent to the current day legendaries, with higher tiers generally being equivalent to adept weapons in terms of upgrade. So those are the sort of reward tiers that they discuss based on the difficulty. They also outline in one of the articles that they'll be doing away with the director or the map as we know it right now, and it will be replaced with a portal screen, which will add a new default activity selection as part of this sort of attempt to streamline the way that we approach Destiny as players. So that is the core, main, most important parts of what Bungie have outlined today. And overall, I think it sounds potentially promising. As I said previously, largely it's going to depend on how much Bungie can actually innovate, what is the quality of this new content, and do players really want to engage and invest time into Destiny again, right? The little previews and the roadmap in this article are nice, but I would say one of the big things that we can take as a positive here from the game director is that recognition that the formulaic nature of content production is one of Destiny's biggest problems at the moment. It's too easy to anticipate the way that things are going to go, right? So in that sense, I'd say that Bungie are potentially on the right track, and at least based on their words here, there is a very solid commitment to the future of Destiny 2, albeit different to what it's been so far. But I think it's important that they're outlining that they want to systematically update and change the way that Destiny works. So overall, guys, I'm going to say that this is a pretty good start. Obviously, when we're this far out from content drops, it's very difficult to anticipate whether Bungie can really achieve this vision. I've no doubt that it's possible, but they are going to have to be given the resources to do so. And folks like Tyson Green, as I've said previously, I think are some of the best people that could possibly be leading the game right now. But as a lot of us in the community have discussed, the game directors, the creative minds at Bungie, haven't generally been its biggest issue, right? It's more on the business side and the leadership at Bungie to ensure that the right decisions are being made and that the right resources are being given to continue to make Destiny content. So that's something that will be proven over the course of time. For now though, I think it sounds good, so I'd like to get your thoughts in the comment section. That does it for the quick breakdown today. I'll be back with more updates from Bungie in the very near future. It looks like there'll be quite a few different blog articles going in more detail about the elements they've discussed today, so keep it locked and loaded. If you've enjoyed the video, a rating helps us out no end. Again, give us any thoughts you have in the comment section. But for now, I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.